Hi, very good morning. This is Shantanu, and I have been a facilitator, coach, uh, uh, mentor for the last 7 or 8 years, right? I'm rekindling this series, which I used to call before Winning Wednesday. And this Winning Wednesday series is all about the first time manager. And I'm sure a lot of you in the audience would be first time managers. So, in episode one, what I would focus on is some of the challenges the first time managers face. And some of these may actually resonate with you. So, I'm going to share my screen and very well at the outset. Welcome back to Winning Wednesday, which we are starting after a gap, right? So when I look at these and I'm classifying these as what I call the dirty dozen, right? So what is the dirty dozen? These are typically hurdles which most first-time managers face, right? So most first-time managers will face some or all of these, right? Now, the first thing when we become a first-time manager is there is a feeling of euphoria. We have got promoted and all of that. But there is also a set of doubts which creep in. Hey, I've never done this before. Am I really ready for it? And I start comparing it with some people, managers who are absolutely top of the line. And I see myself suffering a little bit in comparison. So that's, dirty dozen number one. The second thing is that sometimes we are trying to strike a balance, and the second and third are quite related. So on the one hand, we have being very directive, being very focused, being very, very driving. And on the second part, on the other side of the axis, we have being very nice, being trying to solve everybody's problems. So how do I kind of strike this balance between a relationship orientation and a task orientation? The third area is that, I have been an individual contributor. So I have probably been an individual contributor, then maybe something like a technical lead or somebody who is not a people's manager, but people come to me for help. And now I've become a people manager. So is there a tendency for me to start or not to start or to actually continue being the individual contributor? Hey, these are stuff that I do well. I will continue doing these, right? And I remember a fantastic story somebody had told me, and this is at a senior level. So from a registrar, which is something like a COO in a university, he got promoted to being a VC. And he said that despite being promoted to being a VC, I was very familiar with what the registrar did and I was very good at it. So I continued doing a lot of functions in the registrar, and a new registrar had come in. So in the bargain, I was actually killing two people. One is that I was killing myself, and two is I was killing the registrar, right? Number five is that we don't delegate enough. And some of it could be stemming from four. We want to do a lot of it ourselves. We don't want to delegate enough, and there are barriers to delegation. So I do this the best could be a barrier. I don't trust the other person could be a barrier. I may even have a barrier in terms of visibility issues. What if that person does it and does a good job, right? And we'll talk about it in a subsequent session. How do I not just dump work? How do I empower people? How do I engage them to do that work? How do I get them to own that task, right? Then I was operating so far in a silo. So I was part of, let us say, sales. Now I really got to interact with other departments which has a bearing. So for example, if I'm a technical architect and I am now a leader of that team, I now got to interact with the product groups. I now got to interact with the people who are delivering at site. So I widen my scope of relationship, right? And because I widen my scope of relationship, my view of things has to not no longer be driven by functional or technical. It has to be driven by a overall business view. So I may be solving using technology a particular problem, but my focus will now shift from the how I solve the problem, which was useful as an individual to contributor, to why I'm solving this problem. Number 9, as an IC, I was being told, right? Now I have to get into asking mode. I have to ask people, what is it that motivates you? And this is not simple question answer. And therefore, I got to develop a skill of powerful questioning, right? In the past, I was receiving feedback. Now I got to talk about giving feedback. How do I give feedback? What is the best way of giving feedback? Should I be too hard? Should I be too soft? How do I balance? How do I give feedback without ruffling feathers? How do I give feedback without causing collateral damage, right? Now, the second last part is obviously that I have to not only drive performance, but I have to enable performance, and I have to create a mindset by which, an ecosystem by which performance happens, right? And lastly, the focus is on communicating internally, externally, to senior management, communicating change, communicating new initiatives, etc. Now, with this background, I am really looking forward to this. So what we are going to do is that every week we are going to take one little piece of this puzzle, and we are going to keep it really interactive. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to hope that you come up with solutions, and really look forward to going on this journey with you guys. Have a fantastic week ahead, and see you soon.